Okay. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm late. I'm just setting up this YouTube thing right now. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Setting up this YouTube. Okay. Guranga Michinanda. Hare Krishna. So we'll go ahead and start. Let's see. Gauragraganya gana go to Goloduharam Gauranga Gudatama Gopyata Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adam Japshi Dile Kakola Kahe Premananda Himona Gauranga Hridoya Dadiya Bola Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Laha Gaurangera Namare Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Pranare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yashaiva Padam Bhuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bhidana Parama Pumata Jaganma Mangalaya Caitanya Chandraya Namaste Caitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Caitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavyarapi Gopala Srikriyat Kripaya Jari Tadaiva Sambhaya Pidva Rishayustat Priya Jana Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatha Brajabala Bapahimam Vancha Kopatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhyaeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it's really nice to see everybody tonight in Krishna. We'll go ahead and recite this verse together. This is, I think this is the 16th verse in our Mangala Charana prayers. I put it down as 15 on a little absent minded sometimes here. So go ahead and put the verse on the screen. Navadvipe avatari Angera Bhushana Tina Vansha Vilasi Sachi Garbe Parakasi Sangilana Pradishadagana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I just pasted in the translation there. Tirthakarpa, would you like to read that? Lord Krishna desired.
Yes. Lord Krishna desired to appear in Navadvip to understand the intense love Srimati Radharani felt for him and accept her golden complexion as his bodily ornament. In order to fulfill these three desires, the Lord appeared in Sachi Devi's womb. When the Lord appeared like this in the material world, all his associates followed him and also appeared in the world.
So, as we mentioned in our last session, just to look back a little bit, Guru Maharaj had finished in the previous verse, reciting this verse from the Caitanya Charitamrita, Narpita Chirim Chirat Karuna Avatirna Kolo, speaking about how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give something which had not been given for a long, long time. And what that thing was that he was giving, which is that Unnata Ujjvala Rasa Swabhakti Sriyam. And I think we spent, 6 sessions or something on that particular verse. And then we went on to Prema-bhakti-candrika, which is a very important book, as we've been commenting. I'd like to repeat a few of those comments. It's just such a nice thing. Prema-bhakti-candrika is sometimes known as a Rupanuga Gita because it contains all the essential teachings of Rupa Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prema-bhakti-candrika literally means the rays of the moonlight of Krishna Prem. And they're so soothing that they calm down, they cool off the effects of the burning fire of material existence, and they allow us to drink the nectar of bhakti to Radha and Krishna. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur once said that you should read this Prema-bhakti-candrika every day. And if Krishna's willing, if devotees are okay with it, we're thinking in our next sessions after we finish with the Mangala China prayers to start doing some discussions on Prema-bhakti-candrika. This is also the favorite book of Srila Gorkishwaras Babaji. When someone would ask him, Maharaj, how can you get Krishna Prem? He'd say, that's very easy. Just take a few paisa and go to the market and buy a copy of Prema-bhakti-candrika. And he used to keep a copy of Prema-bhakti-candrika under his arm everywhere he went. So this is the 10th section of that book. And this section is called Trigora Upasana Katavyata, which speaks about the necessity of worshiping Guranga Mahaprabhu. So we heard in the previous verse, Narpita Chirim Chirat Karuna Avatirna Kalo Samapaitam Kandujala Rasam Swabhakti Sriyam, about what Mahaprabhu is coming to give. Now, in his Mangala Charna, Guru Maharaj is going to Prema-bhakti-candrika and explaining something about how do we get that thing that Guranga Mahaprabhu is giving. So we should meditate on him, we should understand something about him, we should worship him in a certain way. We should understand that although he's Krishna, Navadvipa Avatar, he's come as an avatar in Navadvipa, Radhabhava Angikari, and he has the mood and the complexion of Srimati Radharani, Tanrakanti Angera Bhushan, and that not only does he have her complexion, but Angera Bhushan, he has the decorations of Srimati Radharani on his limbs, and we'll speak more about that later on. That's a very beautiful topic. Tina Bancha Abhilashi Sachigarvi Pradakasi. Because he had Tina Bancha Abhilashi. He had these 3 desires, Abhilashi, which he wanted to fulfill. Therefore, Sachigarve Pradakasi. He appeared in the womb of Sachi Mata, and Shangilana Parishadagat. He took with him all of his associates, and as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur commented in one article that we often quote, that trying to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without the devotees is just an illusion. Or if someone tries to worship the devotees without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's also an illusion. Just like, when did Krishna come to America? Krishna came to America when Srila Prabhupada came. When Srila Prabhupada came, we could understand that Krishna is also coming. When Prahlad Maharaj advented, took birth in the womb of his mother, then we could understand that Lord Nrsingadeva is going to appear. Because when the Lord appears, he always comes with his devotees. So we want to say something today about this verse and about this point about Radha Baba Angikari, how he's come with the mood and complexion of Radharani. Tarakhanti Angara Bhushan. What is it, Angara Bhushan? What is it that decorations of Radharani on his limbs? What does that mean? What is it? Tina Vancha Abhilasi? What are the three desires that he has to fulfill? So Krishna has some greed. The Guru Maharaj spoke about this verse, the sixth verse of Caitanya Charitamrita from the Mangala Charna, which actually, if you think about it, Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidusavanayiva. In that verse is packed up the entire Caitanya Charitamrita. So Krishna had some greed to experience the sweet emotions of Radharani, and therefore he accepted all of her feelings, like Madan, Modan, Mohan. He covered his own bluish complexion with her golden luster. And that's a very interesting thing, because if you're an artist and you're doing some painting, black is such a powerful color. There's no other color that's powerful enough to cover black. But Radharani's complexion has such a wonderful power that it covers over Krishna's blackish complexion. And Krishna becomes golden. Shamasundar becomes Gaurasundar. And so then Krishna accepts Radharani's complexion like a decoration of his own body. And he also was decorated with the ornaments of Srimati Radharani's Satvika bhavs, like tears and goosebumps. And her anubhavs, her external manifestations, ecstatic love, like dancing and rolling on the ground. Other different anubhavs of this Prema-bhakti-candrika, where his arms and legs on the side of his body, or this asti sandhi viyog, when the joints of his body became disconnected. And in this way, he was able to relish the mood of Srimati Radharani. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he describes Mahaprabhu's wonderful bhavankars in the section of Caitanya Charitamrita. They have a keyboard, Krishna. Untitled Chapter 13, which speaks about the Rath Yatra. And it's a very, very amazing thing. But first I want to say a little something about this point about the complexion of Srimati Radharani. Krishna was thinking to himself. We read in Untitled Chapter 4. Radhikara Bhava Kanti Angikara Bine Shaitina Shuka Kabu Nahe Ashwadhani Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. He says that the Bine means without. Radhikara Bhava Kanti. Angikara means that he's accepting these things on his anga, his body. Unless I accept the Bhava Kanti, or the complexion and the mood of Srimati Radharani, or we could have it as one word, Bhava Kanti, which can mean the luster of ecstatic love. And that golden color is the color of Madanakya Mahabhav. Saitina Sukha Kabu Nahi Aswadani. Krishna was thinking, unless I accept this Bhava Kanti of Srimati Radharani, and Saitina Sukha Kabu Nahi Aswadani, I can't taste these three desires. Radha Bhava Angikari Tari Tada Barna Tina Shuka Aswadite Hava Avatina Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. This is therefore for that purpose. Radha Baba Angikari Tari. Tari means to accept, to wear, to take on. Huh? Therefore, I'm going to accept those moods of Radharani, Radha Baba, and I'm also going to accept Taravarna, her complexion. And this way, Tina Sukha Aswaditi Avatana. I'll be able to fulfill my three desires. Huh? So we'll speak something more a little bit today about those three desires. But this verse is speaking about how Navadvipi Avatari, Radha Baba Angikari, Tara Kanti Angita Bhusha. That Caitanya Mahaprabhu has this Angita Bhushan. He has in his body this wonderful decorations from the body of Srimati Radharani. And what are those wonderful decorations? Kaviraj Goswami describes those in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 13, when he speaks about Mahaprabhu's activities throughout the Yatra. Udanga Nitye Prabhura Adbhuta Vikar Ashta Satvika Baba Udaya Hoy Shankar Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He says that Mahaprabhu was dancing and jumping very, very high. And during that time, all these Adbhuta Vikar, these very astonishing transformations appeared in his body. And here Kaviraj Goswami says that Astasatvikara Bhav, these 8 different types of ecstasies were there. And that Udaya Hoy Samakal. Samakal, kal means the time, and sama means the same. Samakal means simultaneously. That all of these Astasatvikara Bhavs were hitting the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the same time. This is a very, very extraordinary thing. We've never heard of anything like this. The ecstasies that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced here in Jagannath Puri, as we'll hear a little later from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, no one's ever heard such ecstasies. No one's ever heard such a thing at all. Kaviraj Goswami describes Mamsa Brahma Samaroma Brinda Pula Kita Simulira Brikshayena Kantaka Veshtita Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That monks of Varna, Prabhupada, Brahma, monks of Brahma, Prabhupada translates Brahma as pimples. But it's not exactly like that thing which the teenage kids really want to avoid. But Brahma means, we could better maybe translate it like goosebumps. Just like when you feel some cold or something, maybe, and some bumps come onto your body. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was having like that during the Rath Yatra. His skin was erupting. His body was standing on end, and his body looked something like a simile tree. It's a kind of tree that has some cotton, which has thorns all over it. So Mahaprabhu's body had all these kind of transcendental thorns all over it. These are some of the amazing ecstasies that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced at the time of Rath Yatra, and these are the mood of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur is speaking like this, and he's perhaps in some ways even quoting from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Eka eka dante rakampa deki te lage bai loke jane danta shava kashiya padai hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Eka eka danta means all of his danta, all of his teeth were kampa. They were moving around like anything. And seeing that, right, the people, Bhaya Loka Jani, they all became afraid that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teeth are going to fall out or something. Sarvange prasvede chute tate rakta gum. Jajagaga jajagaga gadgadavachan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Did the sound go down again? Let's check.
Yes, always when you sing, it goes down. And then it takes
Back up
a
again.
minute until it gets normal again.
Sorry about that. I don't know how to adjust it the other way. So Sarvanga, all over Mahaprabhu's body, was prasveda, chute. There was perspiration flowing like anything all over his body. And more shocking than that, Rakta Gama, there was blood coming out from the pores of his skin. And he was trying to say the name of Jagannath, but he couldn't. He could just say Jaja Gaga. Gaga Vachana. This is his choked up words that he was trying to say. These are some of the ornaments that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had from Srimati Radharani. Jalandra Jara Yaiche Vahe Ashru Jala Asapase Loka Jata Bijila Shakala. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. At the same time, this Jala Yantra means like a machine. And Jala Yantra means like, I don't know, I would highly recommend that you come sometime to India. Nandadweep's a good place to see it, actually. I watched that going there one year. But you have to you go for Gaur Purnima, and you should get on top of a roof somewhere and make sure the doors are locked so no one can come from downstairs, and just watch what goes on. It's quite astonishing. There's all these people going around on flatbed rickshaws, and they're like, it's like something you see from the army or something. And many of them have these squirt guns, which are like a tube with a syringe. That's a Jala Yantra. So when with the Jala Yantra, we might say in the West, a squirt gun. When you shoot that water out, then that water just comes rushing out, shooting out like from a gun. So this is how the tears were coming from Mahaprabhu's body. And all of the people who were surrounding him, Asapasi, in all directions, Loka Jata Bijila Shakala, they all became Bijila Shakala, all of them became soaking wet. Kabu Stamba, Kabu Prabhu, Bhumite Lotai, Shushka Kashta Samaprada, Hashta Nachalai, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And he says that Kabu means sometimes. Kabu Stamba, sometimes Mahaprabhu became stunned. Huh? And Kabu Prabhu Bhumite Lotai, sometimes Bhumite Lotai, he'd start rolling around on the ground. And in Shushka Kashta, Samapada Hasta Nachala. Sometimes Shushka Kashta, his arms and legs became as hard as wood. And he didn't move at all. We've never heard of ecstasies like this anywhere before. Kabu bhume pare kabu swasa hoya hina jahadeki bhakta ganir prana hoya kshina. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Sometimes Kabu bhume pare, Mahaprabhu would fall down on the ground. And Kabu swasa hoya hina, sometimes it would seem like he wasn't breathing anymore. Jata Deki Bhaktagana, when all the devotees saw this prana hoyakshina, their life became very, very feeble. And they thought maybe they're going to die. So Navadvipa Avatari Radha Bhavi Angakari Tara Kanti Angera Bhushan. This is the Angera Bhushan. These are the ornaments of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He's come as a sannyasi. He's not wearing gold rings and silver bracelets and like that. His Angera Bhushan, his ornaments that are decorating his body, are the feelings of Srimati Radharani. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kahan nahi suni jay bhave ravikar, Shehi bhava hoya prabhu shariri brachar, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That these ecstasies, kahan nahi suni jay bhave ravikar, no one has ever seen anybody with symptoms like this. And all these different symptoms will manifest in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Loke nahi deki aichi. No one's ever seen it anywhere before. Shastri nahi suni. No Shastra speaks about these kind of ecstasies. Hena bhava vyakti kori nyasi chudamani. But that personality was nyasi chudamani, the crest jewel of sannyasis. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, hena bhava vyakta. He manifested these kind of ecstatic symptoms. And hearing about these symptoms are important. Therefore, after speaking about this Anarpita Chiram Chirat verse, then our Guru Maharaj goes on to speak about how do we worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in the Untitled Chapter 14, Kaviraj Goswami describes, Tate Vishwas Kori Shuna Bhavera Varnan Hoibe Bhavera Gyana Paiba Prema-bhakti-candrika. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He says, Tate Vishwas Kori Shuna. You should hear this, but how should you hear it? With Vishwas, with great faith. Don't just think, oh, this is some mythological thing. This is so weird. Who could actually have symptoms like this? This is just too much. He said, if you do this, you bhavira varnana, if you hear about the symptoms of Mahaprabhu's ecstasies, then you'll come to understand, know something about his ecstatic love, and then what will happen? Paiba premadan, you'll get ecstatic love of God. That's pretty good, isn't it? So, what was the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there in the Gambhira? Why don't I share these verses? These are so nice. This is again Untitled Chapter 14. This is text number 12, which comes just the previous verse was text 11. So now Mahaprabhu is explaining, Kaviraj Goswami is explaining what particular mood, what particular ecstasies of Kaviraj that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had. Krishna Mathuraya Gele Gopiraje Dasa Hoile Krishna Vichede Prabhura Shedasa Upajila Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So he says that Mahaprabhu's condition was just like that of the gopis. Gopira Jay Dasa Hoila. When they experience this Dasa Dasa, or these 10 different symptoms of ecstatic love and separation. When Krishna Mathuraya Gele, when Krishna had left and gone to Mathura, Krishna Vichede, those gopis immediately began to feel some very, very intense separation. And they experienced these 10 different ecstatic symptoms, which actually we're writing about in our next printing of Embankment of Separation. There's a whole chapter about those 10 symptoms from Guru Maharaj. I'm not going to go there right now. It's a little too much. And then in the next verse, Kaviraj Goswami explains further. Udava darshane jaiche radhe ravilap Krame krame hoila Prabhu Sheun Madhavila. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, excuse me. Hey Jagur, would you like to read the translation, please?
Yes, Ru. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The Lamentation of Srimati Radharani when Udava visited Virnav gradually became a feature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental madness.
So, for those of you who've been perhaps attending our morning classes on Tuesday mornings now, which used to go on a few days a week, not only one day a week, on meeting in Kurukshetra, this has been a common discussion there, how Mahaprabhu's mood in the Gambhira was just like this Brahma Gita. Again, in the next verse, Kaviraj Goswami describes this again. Radhikara bhave Prabhu sada abhiman, shehi bhave apana ke hoy radhagyan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaguar, would you like to read that one also?
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's emotions exactly corresponded to those of Srimati Radharani when she met Udava. The Lord always conceived of himself in her position and sometimes thought that he was Srimati Radharani herself.
So this is Bhavira Angikari. This is the mood of Srimati Radharani when Mahaprabhu accepted her ecstatic symptoms. And Angera Bhushan, these are the ornaments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he was wearing in Jagannath Puri. So the verse describes again that Navadvipe Avatari Radha Bhavi Angikari Tamil Kanti Angera Bhushan. That he accepted her kanti, her complexion, but Angera Bhushan also, he had the bhushan, or the ornaments of Srimati Radharani's body. So, Tina Bancha Abhilasi, Sachi Garvi, Parakasi Sange, Sabha Parisharina. So, in his notebook, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's second form, Srila Goswami, has described the three desires which were the main causes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent. And we often comment on this. Yeah, this is the sixth verse. It appears in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And this verse is like a nutshell verse of the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we should meditate on this verse. It's very important. Shiradaya pranaya mahima kidriso vanayaiva swadyo yena bhuta madhurima kidriso vamadiyaha sokyam chashamananabhavata kidrisam vyakti lobhat sadbhavadya samajani garba sachi garba sindo arinda. And Lila Purushottam, would you like to read the translation, please?
Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appeared from the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi as the moon appeared from the ocean.
Subdhamara Goswami says that Baba Adya, Baba means the mood, Adya means someone has some wealth, something which is very, very opulent. So this is the opulence of Krishna when he comes as Guranga Mahaprabhu. His opulence is the mood of Srimati Radharani. And that's a very, very special thing. And for this reason, my Guru Maharaj emphasized so many times that we should not put a peacock feather when the deity Guranga Mahaprabhu, following the instructions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and the tradition of our acharyas, because this is the great treasure of Mahaprabhu, that Baba Adya, he wants to taste that mood of Srimati Radharani. But if we put a peacock feather on his head or a flute in his hand, then he'll say, oh, I forgot, I'm Krishna. And then he can't taste that mood of Srimati Radharani. So these three aspects of Radharani's love, they awoke a very intense burning desire in Krishna's heart. And although he tried so hard, he couldn't fulfill those desires in Braj Leela. And so he determined that he would have to come again as Guranga Mahaprabhu. So what are those three desires? Let me put this back on the screen. Something very important to understand. Shiradaya Pranaya Mahima. The word Kidduso, Prabhupada translates it here of what? It means he was wondering, what is it? What is the Radha Pranaya Mahima? What is the glory, the greatness of Radharani's love? And in particular here, it's mentioned Pranaya by Kaviraj Goswami and embankment separation. So I often comment, the Brahma gave a very deep purport to this word, because Pranaya is one of the different stages of love. It's when the lover and the beloved become one. So in particular, Krishna wanted to understand that. What is that thing? And then the next thing he wanted to understand was that what is it? This that Srimati Radharani Asvadya, what is it that she's relishing? She gets to relish something more than I do. That Asvadya Yena Bhuta Madhurima. She's relishing my sweetness. What does she see in me? Sometimes a boy may be wondering, what is it that she likes about me? And so the girl or something. So similarly, Krishna was wondering, what is it? What is it about me that Srimati Radharani is so attracted by? What is it she's relishing about me? And so Kim Chashamananda Bhavati Kiddusa, the third desire. What kind of sokya, what kind of happiness, what kind of ecstasy does Srimati Radharani get by tasting this thing? So this is the lobha, this is a greed of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. That Bhava Desamajani Satchigarba Sindhu Harindu. That he appeared from the womb of Sachimata to taste this desire. So Tina Bancha Abhilasi Sachigarbi Parakasi. Narottam Das Thakur was paraphrasing this verse. Tina Bancha Abhilasi, Krishna had these three desires, Sachigarbe Parakasi. And to fulfill those desires, he came as Guranga Mahaprabhu. So Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he describes something about this. And I'm going to read something again from Untitled Chapter 4, probably my Guru Maharaj's favorite chapter. Rasha Ashwadite Ami Koila Avatar, Prema Rasa Aswadila Virida Prakar, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Reed, would you like to read the translation?
Sure. Formerly, I appeared in the world to taste mellows, and I tasted the mellows of pure love in various ways.
So Rasa Aswadite, this is why Krishna comes. He wants to taste something, he wants to enjoy something. Koila Avatar is why he comes. Prema Rasa Aswadila Vivida Prakar. And so then he comes and he tastes this love in different ways. And Kaviraj Goswami then describes it. Ragamage Bhakta Bhakti Kori Jay Prakare Tahasika Ila Lila Acharana Dware Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. that why was Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu coming to give? Raga Marge Bhakta Bhakti Kori Jai Prakare. I came to show the different types, the ecstasies that the devotees experience, especially when they're on the spontaneous platform, the spontaneous path of love of God. Tahashikaila Lila Achanadwari. This is my pastime, that I wanted to teach this, I wanted to show this. It's a very, very difficult thing to understand Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. I've seen, honestly, even very senior devotees have a difficult time with the topic, because it's one thing to understand God. Okay, he creates everything. He like hangs out in the clouds up in the sky. He watches everything. He punishes us when we're bad. We can pray to him for things. But it's another thing to try to understand when God comes as a devotee. That's a very, very difficult thing. Kaviraj Goswami explains. 18 Trishna Mura Nahila Puran Vijatiya Bhave Nahi Taha Ashwadan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jaguar, would you like to read this translation, please?
But these three desires of mine were not satisfied, for one cannot enjoy them in a contrary position.
So what is this vijatiya, this contrary position that Krishna is speaking about here in this verse, in Adilila chapter 4? He's speaking about himself, because he's Bhagavan, and he can't understand the mood of Srimati Radharani. Just like in the West, sometimes men, they lament, I just can't understand my wife. Oh my God. It's such a very difficult thing. And we say that women, no man can understand a woman. Sometimes I've heard only Lord Brahma, even Lord Brahma can understand a woman. So that's a perverted reflection in this material world. And in a similar way, Sri Krishna, he wants to understand the mood of the supreme feminine energy, Srimati Radharani. So we'll go on to the next verse. Radhikara Bhava Kanti Angikara Bini Shaitina Shuka Kabu Nahi Ashwadani Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So this verse, which we're quoting again, Radhikara Bhava Kanti Angikara Bini, Bini without or unless he accepts this Radhikara Bhava Kanti, both the mood and the complexion of Srimati Radharani, Krishna says, Say Tina Shuk Kabu Nahi Aswadani. I can't fulfill these three desires. And Kaviraj Goswami, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Untitled Chapter 14, he clearly describes how those three desires were fulfilled nowhere else. They were only fulfilled in the Gambhira. And Krishna says that Radha Bhava Angikari Dari Taravana. Therefore, I'm going to accept this complexion and sentiments of Radharani. I'm going to come to fulfill these three desires. Simultaneously, the time came for an incarnation of the Lord. And say Kali Sri Advaita Korene Aradhana. At the same time, Advaita Charya started worshiping the Lord. And Kaviraj Goswami says very beautifully, Tanhara Hunkare. Hunkara means a very loud calling. By the Hunkara, the very loud calls of Advaita Charya. He was calling out to the Lord in that way. So, Pita Mata Guru Gana Agi Avatari. First, Krishna made his parents and his elders appear, and Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they came as Sachi Mata, mother and father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then all the different associates of the Lord appeared. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself appeared, Radhikara Bhavavana Angikara Kori. Again and again, this word Angikara is used by Kaviraj Goswami. that he accepted the Bhava Varna, or the complexion of the mood of Srimati Radharani. And he appeared then in Navadvip. Navadvipe, Sachi Garba Sudha Dugda Sindhu. And he appeared from the womb of Sachi Mata, which is just like Sudha Dugda Sindhu, or a pure ocean of milk. And Tahate Prakato Haila Krishna Purna Indu. This way, like the full moon coming from the ocean of milk, the Purna Indu. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, appeared from the womb of Sachi Mata. So we had a lot of verses today. Ujjvala Rasiga had to check out. Sorry. And I'm also not feeling really up to things so much. I'm not 100% today. Sorry. Does anybody have any reflections, any comments or questions you'd like? We're going really fast today. A lot of verses. Sorry. Reads, anything that you particularly like? You want to comment on?
I was thinking at the beginning of the class how profound it is that just by this book that Gorkishore Babaji would carry around, you can achieve Krishna Prema just simply by one of the writings of our acharyas. Prema can be achieved, which is the highest.
And it's substantiated by what we're reading also from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Just to hear about these ecstasies of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then you can get Krishna Prema just by hearing about it. It's pretty good. Okay. And Gornitai Prabhu, would you like to share anything?
Yes, thank you very much. I have a very strong feeling that somehow it's a very good fortune to be here in this group, because at least once a week, I'm sure that I am merged into this nectar of expressions of this beauty of the spiritual world. So, because otherwise I'm listening Bhagavatam class, nice. Just now we are hearing about Prithu Maharaj, or I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, or we are working nicely for maintaining ourselves like in a goodness, big farm project. But very rare when we have regular katas, if we don't join this kind of groups. So, and without that, like doing Sankirtan, going out, having a great austerities and not coming back to the temple and have a great feast. So now we have a great marathon, and then after the marathon, pizza, party pizza or something like merging into this other side of the world. So we need that, very much we need that. But I'm thinking how to include it into some regular program like that, not like a good chance to be here, but to give it to others.
It's very, very hard. And honestly, I've seen a number of I have some friends in Mayapur who are very sincere devotees. They were chanting like 1 lakh a day for several years, and very sincere reading and things. And they were reading some of the books of our 6 Goswamis, and then they just got really excited about it. And somebody asked one of them to give class, and he started speaking about Govinda Lilamrita and things in class. And that was the last time they asked him to give class, or sometime they banned him. And it was just devotees. What to speak of outside people? It was just devotees. So we do have a desire like that. But I've seen that sometimes even devotees, it makes them afraid. I remember, as an example, we printed this story that my Guru Maharaj tells about Krishna when he became a sannyasi beggar, begging Radharani's love from Embankment of Separation. We printed that in our Krishna Katamrita Bindu magazine. And after we printed that, somebody wrote to me and said, please forgive me, but I have to unsubscribe because this is too high for me. And it makes me frightened. So, as Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, I'm concerned that this subject matter not just go out to common people. But then he thinks again, he says, actually, it'll protect itself. And we see that it does. There's just some people, they just don't think it's good. But the problem is for devotees, if you go to Mayapur and you try to give a class in Govinda Lilamrita, or probably even Prema-bhakti-candrika, it may be the last class you give for a long time, or at the farm or something too. I was just reading something from Giriraj Maharaj this morning, and he was commenting how, as devotees, I should post this on a Facebook page too if someone's interested. He said that as the managers were going along over the years, the meetings started becoming more and more institutional kind of, about rules and management kind of things. And Prabhupada came to one of the meetings one day, and he told the devotees, he said, this is not right. He said, what you should be discussing is how to go deeper in our chanting. That's the most important topic for the GBC meetings. Prabhupada said like that. So these topics are there in Prabhupada's books, and Prabhupada wanted us to understand them so much, I would hazard to say that he gave us these Tulsi prayers, which I often comment on. He wanted us to have this as a goal. But I think we have to be very careful, because we have our Sangha, and if we speak very much about this, if you speak about Varnashram Dharma in public, everybody's happy and they like that very much. And that's, yes, how to make children, everybody likes that. Making babies is a very popular topic. and raising children, everybody likes that subject. But if we start speaking about ecstatic love of God, it just kind of freaks people out, a lot of them, honestly. So what can you do? All that we can do is we can try a little bit. One thing that I like to do, I think Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gave this for a reason. He gave his Panjika, his Gaudiya Panjika. He made a calendar. And okay, what's the big deal making a calendar, right? The calendar's already there, you may say. But no, he made a calendar. Means he took and he found different appearance days and disappearance days of different devotees. And of course, Janmashtami and Gurpurnima and days like that. But he included so many appearance days and disappearance days of the associates of Mahaprabhu. And he made that calendar like that. What is a special gift about that? What is he giving? By doing that, he's giving us someone to meditate on. Just like in our last issue, Krishna Katamrita Bindu, which came out a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about Udava Thakur, who's an associate of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And his ecstatic symptoms are just so amazing. So when we hear about those devotees, it's a little bit more grounded. If we hear about the gopis and Krishna and Ras Leela, people, they say, Prabhu, that's illegal. We're not supposed to do that. Even though it's in Krishna book. You can't even read Krishna book. The non-devotees can read Krishna book in public, but we can't. Anyway, Hare Krishna. But you can talk about Udana Thakur. You can talk about Narottam Das Thakur. And that eases people into things a little bit. And then maybe we can even talk about what they wrote, what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote, and what Narottam Das Thakur wrote. And we can say something at the beginning about it. And then maybe if we have some like-minded devotees, you meet together with Trigora Prabhu or something, and you go to Budapest, then you can come together in a small group and do something. Is that all right? So while we're on to the Hungary yatra, why don't we go now to Trigora Prabhu? Would you like to make any comments, Prabhuji? Any reflections from you?
Hare Krishna. I very like this point when you speak about the colors, and the painters know this black color is the strongest color, but even the mood of Srimati Radharani, this golden color, just covered this black. I very like this point. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very astonishing thing. And along with that color, all of her emotions covered him, because it's a big thing to be God. It's not a small thing to be God. And God's emotions are not a small thing. But Srimati Radharani's emotions and feelings are so much greater that they're able to cover him. And they're able to cover his color. That's very amazing. Thank you very much, Guruji. Your preaching is going well in Budapest? Still going on?
Yes. COVID has a little bit stopped everything because we don't have interaction with the personal interaction with the people. But now it's starting something again. So it's.
We miss you guys. We're Krishna calling almost every day. She's talking to me. I want to go back to Hungary. I miss the devotees there.
Yes, please come. We miss you also.
When or if that'll take place, who knows? It's a little crazy right now. Thank you for visiting. And let's see here. Tirthakar Prabhu, would you like to share something?
Yeah, I have one point and one short question. I really like that point you mentioned that Guranga Mahaprabhu was decorated by the symptoms of the ecstasy, because usually we try to decorate ourselves by these external things, right? I know jewelry or whatever you mentioned also as example. But sometimes even devotees, when they are really Krishna conscious, like Srila Prabhupada, he was seen by devotees as a very attractive, although he was 80 years old, and usually 80 years people, they are not that attractive. But he was seen as very attractive because he had Krishna, right? So I really like that point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was decorated by the feelings for Krishna, by the symptoms of ecstasy. That was really nice.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote 8 wonderful verses glorifying Narottam Das Thakur. And maybe we'll speak about those sometime if we go to Prema-bhakti-candrika. And I think it's the 4th or 5th verse or something. He speaks about the ecstasies of Narottam Das Thakur. And somebody just sees those ecstasies. All the bad things in their heart go away and they become just so happy and so blissful in Krishna prema. So it's such an important thing that to see devotees, to meditate on devotees. Otherwise, we in this world, we have this material ecstasies and someone gets intoxicated or someone has sex life. That's the closest, that's our mundane version of Astasapikara Bhav. And somebody comes really, really drunk and they're rolling around and whatever like that. And those things, of course, are very, very disgusting and very, very degrading. I want to hear about these things. You had some question also, Prabhuji?
Yeah, I was wondering, Madhavendra Prabhu, if it will be possible sometimes, if we can do like question and answer session with you.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like once a month or whatever it will be like your capacity, because like I'm listening also this your lectures, a meeting in Kurukshetra. I'm someone in the beginning, but I'm going through all of them. And I'm just piling up the questions. I'm trying to find the answers myself, but of course I understand that point that I should not just all the time engage devotees in my service. So I'm trying to find myself the answers, but still I would like to know also your view and your angle on those things and like that, you know.
Okay. Well, does everybody else like that idea? Maybe our next session could just be questions and answers. To yoga, is that you're liking that, or you have a question yourself?
Yeah, I actually this is the same thing in my mind. Thank you, Tirthakar Prabhu. It's like I think it's an amazing idea, and I have now also some questions, but I don't want to just keep the time, and because it's another topic. So
why don't we organize it nicely though, and so it's easier for me. Let's just give a timeline. Everybody has until Sunday. Is that okay? It's Wednesday here in Puri. Is Sunday okay, or should we say Monday? To submit your questions to me. You can write them to me privately on WhatsApp. Is everybody on our WhatsApp group? Or if not, you can write me on an email or something. Does that sound okay?
So it's Monday or Sunday?
Sunday. That's
Sunday.
a deadline for the questions. So I'll have a little time to think about it and organize.
So we can send the questions, and then next Wednesday you would answer it.
Right.
That's perfect.
Sunday, Monday at the latest. Say that. Okay, great. Thank you both. And Natalia, do you want to share anything? Nice to see you tonight.
Thank you very much. It was very wonderful to listen to Chaitanya Charitamrita from you. And thank you for your service. I liked very much the idea that you said that Prema-bhakti-candrika is Rupanuga Gita. So it takes my attention more and more in my like pile of books somewhere to read someday. So
Someone told
like,
me, go ahead.
Yeah, just my interest is growing because it was one very bright image right now, which will give me like more enthusiasm to read it. Okay.
Yeah, you should. There's one I heard from some friend who attended a Pandal program with some big Pracharak, big preacher, big speaker in Navadvip, outside of our ISKCON movement. And he was a Bengali speaker, Gaudiya Vaishnava speaker, and he was saying in his lecture that every Gaudiya Vaishnava, when you get up in the morning, you should bow down and offer obeisances to Narottam Das Thakur, because what he's given us is such a wonderful, wonderful, amazing thing. It's so very special. So thank you very much, Natalia. Hare Krishna. Let's see. Lila Purushottam Prabhu, do you want to share anything?
Hare Krishna. Well, yeah, I'm sharing the point with Natalia because I really love that expression, Rupanuga Gita. This is so wonderful. And yeah, actually, it's quite interesting for me to see among the devotees how much attraction, like naturally, Narottam Das Thakur creates. Like it's I would say that it's commonly most favorite acharya if we accept the Srila Prabhupada, but from the line, at least that's how I perceive it, that he's really like sticking out. Although well, that could be discussion, but anyway, it's kind of interesting to see. And well, maybe, yeah, might be many reasons, like because he's quite well documented, I guess, his life. So that might be one of the reasons. And yeah.
Yeah, it's said that Narottam Das Thakur is a partial manifestation. What is it of? Lord Nityananda, I think it is. And Srinivasacharya is a partial manifestation of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. But after Mahaprabhu left, Nityananda Prabhu left, they manifested themselves through these devotees. Narottam Das Thakur? No, Narottam Das Thakur was Guranga Mahaprabhu's.
I believe so, yeah. I believe.
Yeah.
Narottam Das Guranga.
He took that love when he took bath in the river. He got that level. So that's such an important thing. Sometimes devotees, we say, oh, we shouldn't be a Sahajiya Prabhu. We shouldn't hear about these things. We shouldn't talk about these things. And certainly it can be too much. And we see, some of the Russian babushkas, the old ladies, they have some idea. And Krishna's talking to me every day and this and this. And sometimes it's a little too sentimental for me. But at the same time, if we don't have any examples, the Catholic Church understands that there has to be saints. If there's no saints in any religious tradition, people don't have inspiration to continue. So there has to be some saints, and there should be saints also after Srila Prabhupada. It's so important. I like to hear about Jayananda Prabhu. I like to hear about Jamuna, different like Guru Maharaj. I like to hear about different disciples of Srila Prabhupada who were very exalted. It gives me so much encouragement. And if I don't hear about that, then it's can become kind of mechanical, business-like.
Yeah, that was another point that I really appreciated, how you answered to Gornitai Prabhu, because that's my big trauma from Czech Yatra, that just hearing about the exalted states of devotional service is already disturbing so many devotees. Not to say anything about what's the word, to trying to imitate it or something. That would be natural, that it disturbs the society of the devotees. But just to hear about those topics is very often considered already being a sahaja. So that's my trauma, because I was very soon in my spiritual life, just came to my life your Guru Maharaj and Indra Prabhu, and I was always exposed to really like exalted Krishna Katha, and I was just filled with it, and I was immediately outsider.
As soon as
But
you want to share it, they say, you can't talk like that.
yeah, exactly. But what I really liked, your point, that the nice smooth way through how to soften those devotees is by the glorifying of the devotees, of the acharyas, of their life stories, and I have a practical realization with that when there is appearance day and you're supposed to speak something, and you take that person and you tell the life story of that person, you can say anything. You can say any bhavas that devotee exhibited, and everyone is practically okay with it. So I really I just want to confirm that I have a same experience with that, and that it works like that. Yeah.
It's very difficult. Our movement is very new, and we're not experienced, especially in the West, with how to deal with these things. We're not experienced even how to hear Krishna Katha, what Krishna Katha we should hear, how we should hear it. And if you see someone like Amarendra Prabhu, speaking something, people, oh my God, that's like too much. It's just so high calorie, or my Guru Maharaj or something. They just can't tolerate that. But it's very difficult. We just spent 5 days in Bhubaneswar temple, and it was a really interesting thing for me. I was meditating in our group here, and how a lot of the devotees, we have so many discussions about how institutions are bad and this and that, but I was appreciating the importance of the institution and how it was a place for my wife and I to go, and they have a strict morning program. It's so nice to plug into, and Mangalarti at 4:15, actually 4:10. My Guru Maharaj's Samadhi, and then we go to Radha Gopinath's Mangalartik, Lotus Temple, and then after that we go to the main Mangalartik for Krishna Balaram, Jagannath Balaram, Subhadra, and Gauri time. And it's just so sweet. The deity dressing is so nice, the kirtans are so nice, and the evenings there's like thousands of people coming every evening. The temple is packed, and people in ecstasy. They're all taking books. They're all chanting Hare Krishna really loudly, and these are outside people. The temple's doing such a good thing. I was really appreciating it. But then after a few days, I was taking prasadam with one of the main leaders in the temple, and I kind of scratched a little bit on the surface. And he started telling me, this thing, and what it's like, and it's in politics, this, and I said, I don't even want to hear that. I said, I just come here and everything is good, and everything's nice. I'm only here for a few days, and then I go away. But I understand as soon as you have more than 4 or 5 people, especially if they're not all like-minded, then you're going to have politics. It's just a guaranteed thing. Now, if you have a group where everyone's like-minded, then there's some hope, especially if that like-minded quality pertains to their desire for bhajan and Krishna Katha. That's very important. If you have that, then, wow, you can fly. And that's what we really need to cultivate. But at the same time, I don't ever want to discourage Srila Prabhupada's temples. I was so happy with the Bhubaneswar temple. My strong conviction is that Prabhupada and my Guru Maharaj must be very happy on some level. But as we oftentimes speak, that's like kindergarten. It's the beginning thing for people. It's only the beginning in Krishna consciousness. And we have to take it to something further than that. And it was astonishing for me this time. I was giving talks almost every day. I shared some of them.
Yeah, I've heard all of them.
Yeah, some of them are just like to brand new people who don't know anything. And so we're talking about light bulbs and whatever like that, and trying to
yeah.
Krishna consciousness. Yeah, Krishna.
But Bhagavatam class was great about the son and the guru and non-difference.
Yeah, it's nice when we speak with devotees and we can speak a different way. We can speak a little more. But even with those devotees, what we're speaking here, I would be careful not to do. But the last day that I was there, I gave our Mathura meeting in Kurukshetra talk in the conference room there. And I told the temple president about it. He made an announcement, and because it was so late, the announcement, one devotee came. I think a couple of devotees watched it online. And he told me afterwards, he says, the next time you do some Brahma Radit or something like that, tell us 3 or 4 days ahead of time, and we'll arrange, a lot of devotees will come. That's ISKCON Bhubaneswar. It's not like Czech Republic. They like our Guru Maharaj's Katha. It's an austerity. But that's why you are where you're at, I think, in some ways too. You kind of have your own space. And you have your own
Yeah. And also I learned a lot from this our Sangha, that's actually a proper place and space to share and relish this type of katha. It's not meant to be on regular Bhagavatam classes or what to speak of public preaching. It's just not meant to be there. And I believe that it's part of the Krishnadas Kavirajas Goswami's explanation that the topic protects itself. Like it's just.
As my Guru Maharaj once told me in the temple in Bhubaneswar, he told me personally, he said, frogs can't digest the ghee. I had a realization this last time we visited Bhubaneswar. Frogs can't digest the ghee, and I can't digest the Mahaprasad. It's called Bhubaneswar. I'm like a frog.
Yeah. So
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Jai Gaur, do you want to share something? Is Bana there with you?
Yes, Prabhu. Actually, she's here.
We can have Bana Darshan maybe. Hare Krishna. Is he being nice?
Yes, he's being very nice.
That's good.
Got a
Very
very
fortunate. You want to share something, either one of you or both of you?
I was thinking something similar to Reed. I really kind of marked that point that if you hear about Mahaprabhu's ecstasies and try to understand them, you'll also get that prema. And I was thinking that, just kind of trying to introspect a little bit, I was thinking that a lot of times people don't understand Mahaprabhu, they kind of forget about him, because Radha and Krishna are so central, like they're on the center altar in all of our temples and everything like that. But if we don't, you're always talking about, entering Radha and Krishna's Leela through Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And I just felt like maybe recentering for myself is in order, because there's not enough focus on Mahaprabhu in my life sometimes. Just a little introspective.
Yeah. Yeah, Mahaprabhu means Radha Krishna. You can't have Mahaprabhu without Radha Krishna if you're really contemplating properly. It's interesting to me, I've thought a lot about why it is that some devotees, it's easy to say Mahaprabhu's Krishna. Even that was a little hard for a lot of devotees in the beginning, but it's not so hard. But to say that he's in the mood of a devotee and try to understand the mood of a devotee, a lot of devotees, even senior devotees, just can't get their head around that. And then another thing that seems a little hard sometimes too is when we talk about asasaptikara bhav, the different ecstasies. And devotees, again, a lot of times just can't relate to that. And perhaps I was thinking about that, first of all, most of us are selfish. And we're approaching the Lord, Dhanam Dehi, Rupam Dehi, please give me some money, give me a nice wife, give me a nice husband, give me this thing, that thing. It's just all about me, me, me. And when you ask someone, how's your spiritual life? You say, oh, my japa is doing really good. I'm getting up early every morning. I'm doing this. And it's all about him or her, that particular person. Yeah, and their perceived advancement. But how many of us are thinking about the pleasure of Guru? Harmonious are thinking about the pleasure of Guranga Mahaprabhu. And that's the inner nature of Gaur Lila, that he's Krishna coming, trying to understand the mood of Radha. And if we go through him, then we can also understand the mood of Radha. That's what he's giving. And the Satyakara Bhavs, I was thinking, sometimes perhaps devotees are uncomfortable with that because we like to be in control. We don't want to lose control. And if I lose control and I start rolling on the ground, or foam's coming out of my mouth, tears or this or that, that's just too freaky. I can't deal with that. I don't want to, that sounds bogus. I can't approach that. People may think like that. That's one of my thoughts. Bana, do you want to add anything? Krishna comes to see Bana behind you. Okay. She doesn't want to stick her head in front of the camera.
Okay, that's fine. No, Prue, I don't have much to share today, but personal thing, I thought I'd take the opportunity just to, we're leaving in a few days and, you know, a little nervous, but also feeling hopeful, looking forward to that. And I just wanted to ask for your blessings, Prue, that we can try to enter into the Dham. And, you know, we're going to be in Govardhan for a few days, and I don't think you'll be able to come, so.
Right.
Yeah.
We would like to, it would be so nice. This is crazy. You know, when we do yatra, Tirtha Yatra, that yatra should begin long before our journey begins, long before you get on the plane. We should be thinking about Govardhan Hill. We should be thinking about the places in Vrindavan, and the places in Jagannath Puri, and the places in Mayapur and that we want to go to, and thinking about the devotees who are there and the pastimes that took place and things. And so in that way, we're trying to go there in our mind and heart before we actually get on the plane. By the way, we were very worried. I'm still worried, actually, if we're going to have this yatra with the devotees from Kazakhstan. It looks like they're going to be able to come, and they're sending money. They figured out a way to send money. The banks are all locked up, and the internet's all locked up. Everything's crazy. But they managed to get some messages. They managed to send money somehow. But I just got a message this morning from a friend of ours, a devotee lawyer, who takes devotees on a lot of yatras in West Bengal. And he does a lot of research things. So I was asking him for advice about going different places. And he said that the government now, they don't allow more than, I would say 15, 20 people in a group. And their group is going to be how many, Krishna? Over 30. So I don't know. I just don't know what it's going to mean. But I've thought about it, and I've thought a lot about you guys. I would love just to have you guys here in our ashram. Maybe we could do some projects together or something, just do something together. I'd love to work with Bana Biharni on our website. We could do that, and I could probably put Jagador to work on some things with Bana Biharni's permission. And then we could also maybe go spend a day or two in the Bhubaneswar temple, maybe go to Patamandai and or Gadagiri. They're really, really special places to go. You haven't seen Patamandai, the new temple they have. They're growing almost all their own food. They have their own cows and things. And Holiday Maharaj is just, he's really good. Yeah, you saw Yashoda before, that's right. That was a property. And you saw Yashoda there. Now they have some buildings there, and it's a whole program. So I had some ideas like that. We'll do something. And I think that maybe even I was thinking if we go to Patamandai, maybe we could try to do something as a group, like do some gardening thing or do something with the cows, or just contribute something. I like that a lot when we go somewhere, just try to contribute something to the temple for a day or something. It doesn't have to be a huge thing, but this is my ideas. Just mentioning. Leela Purushottam, you're welcome to come if you want.
Yeah, I hope one day we can have a, you know, Prema program in Puri with all of these devotees here in this
It
group.
would be really good. I don't know if Leela Purushottam can get away from his garden or not.
Well, I'm not 100%, but yeah, we are. No, what were you asking? I'm sorry.
They were saying maybe you should come to Puri sometime. We have a yatra here with all the devotees in this group. And I said that but Leela Purushottam can't leave his garden.
Well, there is, in the mid-Europe, almost half a year you're not in the garden actually.
Yeah, if you come like this time of the year, probably, right? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like
Like the retreats, it was always, we tried to, like Govardhan retreats after Kartik, we tried to finish the garden and then go. So it was like,
so you're not watering the garden now.
no. It's -10 today.
It all turned to ice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching your pictures of Giriraj today.
With the
You mentioned
chilies.
it's coming from our garden, so I was thinking, okay.
When there's no there's growing seasons year round here. The summertime's a little harsh. It's intense. That's the hardest time. And the rainy season's too much with the rain. You got to do something to protect the plants from so much rain. But
Yeah,
otherwise, it goes 12
That,
months a
it's
year.
never the issue here.
But you're growing some things inside I can see here too. In the window, you grow some vegetables or in the windows, or
Yeah, something. Yeah, yeah. And now from next year we will have a winter garden also, like like
greenhouse.
part of the house, and we have a great hope that we could have a lot of things there, because it should be that there will be no freezing there. So we hope to have some fresh vegetables all year round. Otherwise, we have stored the harvest, like the root vegetables, and we always have our wheat. These things that we have like all year
You're
round.
growing wheat. Is
Yeah.
it old wheat, or is it just like hybrid
No,
GMO
it's
stuff?
actually quite conventional, because we tried many things. That's quite a difficulty with these old types. Like, for example, spelt. We would love to have a spelt, but then you have to peel it, and for peeling you have to have a special machine, or you have to the whole harvest brings to someone to peel it, and it makes it more difficult. So
Yeah.
so we go quite conventional in that sense, but still we are very, very happy. But we don't put any nonsense on it, of course. So at least like that. And
Yeah.
that's one of my dream come true, to have our own grains.
That's awesome. Yeah, sometimes we just have to be practical, right? I mean, we don't want to talk about, you need some machines, you need to grow certain types of things, which maybe are not our favorite type of seeds or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. That's many things actually. Actually, you know that I was very much into permaculture and this approach, but then I have to, for myself, like for my garden and the space here, I have to consider so many things in that regard, because, like, for example, if I would be more specific regarding permaculture, it's just so holistic and complex approach that if you avoid just few steps, like few features you avoid, and then the whole thing collapses actually, and it just stops working. So then you have to really like think how to go. And for example, for me, the animals are, I'm really scared of it. I just couldn't imagine that I would have to regularly take care of the animals, like cows, whatever. So and how do you want to make the really like full-fledged working space without the animals? It's practically impossible.
Yeah, without cows, how can you really do gardening? Well, we just went to our Ayurvedic doctor a couple of days ago. We haven't seen him in 10 years, old friend of ours. And he was telling us, you got to do go seva for your health, you know. And we had another friend who had some problems with his skin, and he explained to us some shlokas from Charvak Samhita or something, that the skin thing means either you have some offense to Guru, to the cows, or to the Brahmins. And so part of the solution for that, he should serve the cows, especially the bulls. It's really sweet, but it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing at all. And that's why I know, like Sachinanda Maharaj, there's some friends of ours, disciples of his, who they wanted to get a cow, and they got property and everything all ready for the cow. And then they thought, just before they will get, we'll ask Guru Maharaj for permission. It's just a technicality, but we'll ask him for permission. And they asked him, he said, no.
Yeah.
And they said, well, Guru Maharaj, we got the property, and they said, no. Because he understands. It's such a big thing, it's such a difficult thing to take care of a cow. And most devotees who haven't done that and they don't have any other backup with other devotees, they end up giving the cow away.
Yeah. We have that experience here, like, because I was, through Guru Maharaj, I was very much part of the like Kalakanta Prabhu's how you call it, the Department of Agriculture, and cow protection. And I remember just a few years ago, I've been with Guru Maharaj on the Hungarian farm, actually, for the farm conference. and I spoke with Kalakanta Prabhu, and I told him, well, after my experiences here in our village, I would almost recommend a resolution that single families, devotees, would be forbidden to even try for cow protection without the whole project, whole structure behind themselves. Because few devotees tried here with great enthusiasm, with really determination, and we're gonna have a cow protection, and they almost ruined their spiritual lives. It just didn't work. If you don't really have a solid structure of dedicated people, it's impossible.
Well, that's some wise comments. You'd love to have Reed also. He's here on talk right now. Reed's really into all these things too. He's taking care of the cows, and he's very interested in permaculture and natural living and eco villages and stuff like that. Yeah, good topics. And of course, Anna Piney's there too sometimes. She's golden on that. All right, so thank you all very much. It's so nice to see you. So send in some questions then by Sunday or Monday at the latest. And so you can write into me privately if you want, or publicly, whatever. And I'll go over all of them, and we'll try to have a mixed session of the questions and answers. Okay. Thank you all very much again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta-vrinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpadurubhascha, Kripa Sindhu Bheva Cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.